So my name is Daniela Kaufer. I'm a professor of neuroscience and physiology at UC Berkeley.
Hi, my name is Mi-Jung Ko. I'm a postdoc at UC Berkeley. I work in Daniela's laboratories.
Hello, my name is Yana Bahakis, and I am a graduate student here at UC Berkeley in the Helen Wills Neuroscience Institute.
So my name is Sandra Maroy, and I'm a research affiliate at Daniela Kaufer's lab.
What does your research focus on?
My lab researches brain plasticity. We're thinking about times in which the brain adapts to things that change in the environment. We have a particular focus on stress and had been interested in stress for a long time in my career. And we're mostly focusing in recent years on the individual trajectories towards resilience and vulnerability in different individuals to psychological and psychiatric disorders, to neurological disorders, and different trajectories in the aging brain.
Currently, I'm focusing on some of the aspect how brain plasticity, such as myelin, is part of the substance that actually can be changed over time throughout lifetime. So how those brain plasticities are modulated through psychiatric behaviors, stress, and psychedelic medicines.
Here in graduate school, my research focuses on neural mechanisms of underlying psychedelic effects on stress-induced behaviors.
My graduate work broadly focused on the role of microglia in neuroinflammation and neurodegeneration, and I was working on elucidating the function of a novel repressor, transcriptional repressor of microglia inflammation, with hopes to develop some sort of like therapeutic targets in order to calm down microglia inflammatory cascades during aging and neurodegeneration. Currently at Daniela's lab, I am working on bioinformatics and analyzing gene expression signatures in a resilience model after severe stress. And this is a rodent model. And I'm also interested in expanding my knowledge of sort of bioinformatics and more computational skills. So I'm also collaborating on working on applying a classifier to resting state functional MRI to see if functional connectivity changes can be predictive of brain age.
What is one thing that you wish you had learned in undergraduate school before attending graduate school?
Before coming to graduate school, I wish I knew as an undergrad that graduate school isn't so scary. I was very intimidated by the thought of attending graduate school with, at a very prestigious, university with all of these amazing faculty members, and it felt so far out of my reach. And it took a relationship with a mentor to gain that confidence and, realize myself that I do belong in graduate school. And I just realized, I just wish that this is something that, had come easier and someone had told me sooner on.
What has been your most meaningful experience in graduate school so far?
So again, I did my PhD at Purdue University. During my PhD, it's like for a lot of students will experience, for instance, a lot of failure and scientific hypothesis doesn't work, or toolkit fails. Part of me, I was also very afraid that my PhD wouldn't work, but I partly agree with what Yana actually brought up earlier, that don't be afraid, and everybody will fail at one point. But most important thing is that you believe in yourself, and that the science is actually something that will not always work as you hope. But through my interactions with my mentors and colleagues, I think the meaningful interactions throughout the networking actually helped a lot for me to move forward in my science, getting feedbacks, and also getting ideas, inspirations. Those are all the very important aspects that you want to remember as a grad student. And that is also part of motivation for me to actually complete my grad school.
So I just want to say it was very, both are such powerful messages. And I would even go further and say, not be afraid of failure, is that embrace failure. Failure is going to be part of the process. That's how the scientific process is. And it's through trying and failing and trying again that you get to it at the end. It's you haven't done the full process if you're just constantly afraid of being to fail.
I just wanted to add that, very similar to Yanaba and Mijang's experience in grad school, for me, it was not that I didn't know a whole lot, but, I am a first generation, college student in my family. And so there wasn't a lot of background that I had as to what like a PhD or a program like that meant. And so I felt like you learn a lot just throughout the process of being in grad school. And it's almost like you learn a lot about yourself. And I remember sort of like jokingly thinking like, this is not what I signed up for yourself, all of this soul searching, like I just wanted to do science and take classes or whatnot. But you learned just, what you're interested in, how to be independent, how you work best, the type of mentorship that you need.
What do you like the most about teaching neuroscience?
I love teaching neuroscience. And I feel like neuroscience is life. In teaching neuroscience, it's teaching about everything that actually touches people's lives. And so there isn't anybody in the world that I found that when I say neuroscience doesn't have an angle that is interesting to them. It's their own life, it's their own mind, it's their psyche, it's their spiritual world, it's ramifications on society and moral decisions, it's education and brain development for their own kid or their grandmother that had Alzheimer's. It's always really very, very personal to people. And there's always a lens to get through to somebody's life, and understanding the brain more gives you the knowledge to do that. I feel like there's a lot of hope in that as well, in understanding plasticity, particularly in things that one can do to change their own life and help them. And I would say one of the most fulfilling experiences that I've had was teaching neuroscience to Tibetan monks in India, where this was a whole other level of talking to somebody who spends, or talking to people who spend their life thinking about consciousness, thinking about minds, very, very, very smart, but without any scientific background. How do you explain details of the brain in that context? And so I've done that for a few years, and one of the best things that I've done in my career.
What do you like the most about researching neuroscience?
What I like most about the neuroscience is that you can actually envision someone's mind inside. So for instance, like one of the technique that I use in the laboratory right now is called the calcium imaging. So we do try to visualize the calcium activities in neurons or glia within the brain when the mice or rodents, our subjects, are alive and behaving and do all the awake behavings. So one thing that I feel it's fascinating is that imagine like you are seeing somebody, let's say we want to understand what mice think. Of course, we cannot ask questions. However, one thing that we could do is that we could actually implant a microscope into their brain and then image their, like I said, the calcium activities, which correspond to neuronal or glial activities, given the time points. And we could actually look at how that changed over time or in response to specific behaviors, when they're grooming or when they're actually responding to social interactions.